Hey Tribe, how you doing? This is just a quick drop. This is a review of American Woman, season 1, episode 1. American Woman is a new show. It premiered tonight, and I'm reviewing it because Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Kyle Richards is actually executive producing the show, and they've actually talked about the show on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which I watch and I will review next season. I didn't review it this season because I wasn't doing reviews, but I was curious because it's sort of created a rift between her and her sisters because the show is loosely based on their childhood. If you know anything about her or the show, she was a child actress. Her sisters were child actresses, and honestly, they began acting because their mom needed the money, and this is sort of the story of how it happened. So it's really like a la Waiting to Exhale, but this is her real story where the her mom, has everything. They live in this nice house in Beverly Hills, and they're living this great life. And the husband is a great provider, but it's set in Beverly Hills in 1975 was the year. And of course, they got this great life. They're living La Vida Loca, and his birthday is coming up, and she's planning this really big birthday party for him. And you start to see little cracks as far as how he thinks about her and respects her as a woman. Of course, he has that whole 1970s mentality about women: stay in your place, take care of the home, look pretty, entertain when I need you to entertain. Like when he brings people to the house and all that kind of stuff. You see them go out to eat. Well, you see they're looking at the TV and there's a woman on the TV talking about women's lib. And he's like, you listening to this? Are you paying attention to this? And she was like, oh, just sort of background noise. He was like, ugh, I don't know what you women want. I mean, you already have da 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 da. Why do you want more? Men take care of you, that thing. And they end up going out to eat with some friends that are new to the area that are working in the office, and come to find out the woman is pregnant, and they're in the bathroom, and she's like, well, how far along are you? And she was like, oh wow, you can notice. And she was like, women's intuition. And she said, yeah, well, we're not really telling anybody because he doesn't want me to keep the baby. He said that we just moved out here and he's just getting his career started, and this just isn't the right time to have kids. And you know I support him and he takes care of me, so he's probably right. You know what I mean? And you see her sort of look at her like, you know, not in a judgy kind of way, but in a, wow, is that what I sound like sort of thing. She has two best friends, and they sit by the pool and spend their days at the country club and that kind of thing. And one of the girls um, is rich, has money, and the guy she's dating is gay. They show him, off in the closet somewhere with another guy. And then the other girlfriend is single in the workforce, working her way up the ladder, so to speak. Well, as far as they would let you go in 1975. So what ends up happening is her husband changes his cologne, and while they're at the country club one day, one of the girlfriends makes a comment about that's how somebody knew that her husband was cheating, because he started wearing different colognes. So of course she's like, oh shit. So that night, her husband calls and says, hey, hon, I'm working late at the office. We got a little emergency here. Don't wait up. I'll be home late. And she was like, emergency? What kind of emergency does a real estate agent have? She packs up the two girls. One is supposed to be Kyle, and then her sister. Packs up the house, goes over to his job, sees him getting in his car with some roses, follows him to the girlfriend's house. She doesn't say anything at that moment. She waits till he gets home that night, and they have this crazy ride home. She waits till he gets home that night, and she confronts him, and he was like, how you find out about that? Not, not a reaction you would expect. And basically she tells him to get out, that she's going to take care of herself, and she's a liberated woman, and that she don't need him, and, they do that whole thing. Well, while all this was going on, in my mind, I was thinking, you ain't got no money. He takes, like, they had talked about that early in the episode, where he pays all the bills. She doesn't even have her own bank account. Like, she has to ask him for money to put gas in the car. Where you going, boo? How you putting him out the house? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's the reason why you stay with a man that's not faithful. I'm just saying have a plan. Like, you mad right now, and I get it, you just caught him. I'm just saying have a plan. Because you got 2 kids, you got this big ass house, and you have no money. Which is what she finds out really quick. That you have no money. And she's talking about, her parents are going to give her some money, and she's going to cut back, fire the maid and fire the gardener and all that stuff around the house. But at the end of the day, okay, that might take care of this month. But what about next month? So she had been planning this really big birthday party for him. So she went on and had the party without him. And her friends was like, you're the only person that would have the birthday party without the birthday boy. And she was like, look, everything was already paid for. Like, why not? And you see them kind of having a good time, and the girls dancing and just kind of in that moment, like forgetting about all their other problems. Well, later on that night, she's half drunk, half passed out on the couch. Her hair's all screwed and everything. She hears a knock at the door. I'm thinking it's the husband. Open up the doors to police. They have a warrant for her husband's arrest. And he was like, are you his wife? And she was like, well, not anymore. He doesn't live here anymore. She was like, what did she say? I forgot what she said, but then the cop was like, you need to get you a good lawyer. She said, what's the charge? That's what she said. She was like, what's the charge? And he was like, ma'am, you need to get you a lawyer. And that's pretty much where the episode ends. So, it's only 30 minutes. The episode's only 30 minutes. So I'll probably tune in again. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep reviewing it, but I'll tune in again. I'll see what we're talking about, see where we're going. But again, this is the story of how Kyle got into acting and her childhood. It's loosely based, so it's not a word for word situation, but it's enough of the truth that her sisters are not speaking to her and they're not happy that she did this show. So for me, it's worth a looky look. Anyway, check it out. It comes on the Paramount network, which I think is a new network. I'm not sure if it's an old network that's been renamed or just a new network altogether, but throw it in your DVR, see what pops up. American Woman. And drop it in the comments if you watch it. Tell me what you think or what you thought.